I had someone reach out to me and say, hey, I see that you've been doing these episodes, but I've got some questions for you. Would you mind answering these? Absolutely, I'll answer your questions. Like 100%. I love doing that. So this episode is fully dedicated to answering that person's questions. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. My name is Brad Owens. Like you, I spent 15 years in recruiting. I did external recruiting, internal recruiting, and I was having to use various different ATSs. And then I saw Salesforce and I went, where has this been all my life? Ever since then, I've been dedicated to helping recruiters learn more about Salesforce so that they can avoid all the mistakes that I made and really start seeing the benefits of what a true ATS can actually do for them. So on today's episode, I had someone reach out to me and say, hey, I see that you've been doing these episodes, but I've got some questions for you. Would you mind answering these? Absolutely, I'll answer your questions. Like 100%. I love doing that. So this episode is fully dedicated to answering that person's questions. And the questions that they had were around a Salesforce admin and what a Salesforce admin would truly do for them. Do they need one at their staffing company? When it comes to integrations, does this admin help? What kind of integrations would we need based on various systems? So I'm going to answer all that today. So let's start with the Salesforce admin. What is a Salesforce admin? What truly does this person do for your business? So a Salesforce admin could be someone as simple as the person who's in charge of running your Salesforce instance. They're the person who gets things set up for you. They're the person who makes some tweaks. And some people think that having a dedicated Salesforce admin, someone who you employ yourself, is beneficial for their organization. Now, there are multiple benefits to having someone that truly knows your organization, who can sit in and amongst all the people that are actually doing the work, who can come in and truly make sure they understand the ins and outs of your specific use case and be able to dedicate that time to updating your Salesforce instance to make it perfect for what you need. But the beauty of the Salesforce ecosystem is that those type of people exist at tons of different organizations, whether they're external consultants or they are advisory team members or they're small groups that come and work at various organizations. So do you need a Salesforce admin? I don't think so. It's just a cost benefit analysis for you to run. What I will say is what I've seen. So in my experience, I've seen companies up to around 25, 30, maybe getting into 50 people. They don't really need a Salesforce admin on staff. They have relatively good customer service from the apps that they have purchased or from Salesforce, and they're able to set it up in a way that helps them get started and get them going out of the gate. So would I suggest a full-time Salesforce admin to these people at this size? No. But I absolutely would suggest investing in getting your Salesforce infrastructure set up correct from day one. Talk to a Salesforce consultant in the staffing and recruiting world. Blueprint Advisory is well known. I'd absolutely reach out to them. Just a little disclaimer there. They're a sister company to me, but Blueprint Advisory does amazing work. They specialize in staffing and recruiting verticals and all the Salesforce work associated with that. So reach out to them. But what those companies under like 50 really need is just a good starting point. Once you get started and get everything set up, it's going to be relatively easy for you to go really to any consulting firm and say, hey, we've got this instance, here's how it's set up, but we need to make this change. They can make that. It's relatively easy because Salesforce consultants exist everywhere. I feel like most people could make tiny little changes here and there. But what I will say is that in my experience, I was a recruiter for 15 years. I learned everything I know about Salesforce and got 3 certifications in under a month. It's completely possible for you to learn this stuff and to be able to do it. Salesforce has amazing resources in Trailhead. If you haven't checked out trailhead.com, do that. They have amazing resources for you to be able to learn this stuff and actually do it yourself. So a lot of what you want to do may not take an admin. So that's for the under 50. If your organization has over 50 people, your processes are probably going to be way more complex. Your instance is probably going to be way more complex. The things you need to do are going to be way more complex. In that case, yeah, it may make sense for you to have a Salesforce admin on staff, especially if your needs are more complicated. You have more systems it needs to talk to. You have more connections you need to make. Those types of organizations, absolutely. Hire your own Salesforce admin. The good news is it's relatively easy to do that because Salesforce certifications are so well known and they're so regimented, and the training that you have to get for those are so specific that really, if you can find someone with those certifications and they fit your corporate culture, then I'd say it'd be relatively easy for you to hire one of those individuals. So for those 50 and larger, for those firms of 50 and larger people, maybe you're more complex, absolutely, I'd say get your own admin. It might pay for itself in the consulting costs that you're going to save. So absolutely get one. The second part to this question that this individual had was around integrating Salesforce products for kind of that seamless operations, and whether some tools need more integrations than others or need different tools. So I will lay out a blanket statement here. Salesforce is amazing for integrations. What doesn't integrate with Salesforce, right? Salesforce has their own app exchange. There are plenty of different things that you can integrate. What I will say is the reason that this person needed to ask this question is honestly, I think, because they bought the wrong Salesforce product in the first place. A lot of us in the recruiting world tend to go out and try and find that all-in-one solution, that thing that can do everything from front office all the way through back office and everything on this single system. The problem is that requires a lot of give and take. So we have to give up the ability of using any kind of system that we want, but we get a single system. We have to give up being able to integrate to multiple different things as our business may change, but we are able to have one system. We give up being able to take advantage of the best in breed technology. Let's say if our search and match provider comes out of the woodwork and they've got this crazy new AI matching technology that you can't take advantage of because you're on a singular platform. So I think this person, their particular question was around, hey, have you seen any one particular app out there that integrates better to back office different systems? And no, because if you're trying to buy a all-in-one applicant tracking system, you only really get the integrations that they've built. So what I would suggest to this person is take a look at how you're able to assemble your tech stack. So there are 4 different types of Salesforce apps out there. I suggest looking at the different videos I have here on this channel to see what those 4 different types are. But just at the very, very basic level, you have the all-in-one apps that are on the App Exchange that sell you a Salesforce license and they add features. You have apps that are just feature apps, which give you the features that you need inside a Salesforce environment that you've procured from Salesforce. Those types of applications, the feature add-on applications, are exactly what you're alluding to that might be better than your all-in-one solution that you currently own today or you're looking at owning. I would say the all-in-one solutions are kind of the legacy way to do things. With the pace and the change that is like just absolutely apparent in our industry, I'd really steer people towards a feature set license. Look at the Asymbl applicant tracking system. It's ASYMBL, the applicant tracking system. That is purely just adding features into Salesforce. So any kind of back office system that you want to integrate, you still have the ability to do that. Any kind of automations that you need to call out to different systems, you still have the ability to do that. You're not hamstrung in any way by just what comes out of the box for that all-in-one solution. So I'd say absolutely look at something that's more of a feature app approach rather than the all-in-one approach, and you'll be able to do anything that you really want with that. So I would absolutely say for terms of integrations, just avoid those all-in-one systems and move more to the feature set of kind of assembling the tech stack that you need. But it's going to take buying very specific types of apps. So if you need some suggestions, reach out to me. It's hello@bradowens.com. I'm happy to walk you through what my suggestions might be based on my experience of what I've seen others do in the industry. So the third part of this person's question was around handling complex business processes and Salesforce integrations amongst those and how an admin kind of plays into that. So what I would say is some common challenges that people see when they're setting up a Salesforce environment is 1, you need it to look and function the way that you want it to. 2, you need it to integrate to the different tools and pass information back and forth. And then 3rd, you kind of need to maintain that. So amongst all those different things, an admin can come into play in different parts of that scenario. First, I would say getting everything set up. To get it set up just out of the box, ready for you all to use, configured the way that you need to do it, I don't think you need your own admin on staff to do that. I don't. I think you need a relationship with someone that can do that work for you. So a Salesforce consulting company. So we mentioned Blueprint Advisory before. I'd absolutely still look into them to get things set up and configured the way that you need it to be configured. When it comes to integrating that configuration that you then built into different systems, that comes down to using either API tools or something like MuleSoft from Salesforce, or there's a bunch of other different types of tools that are out there on the market that you could potentially look at. Setting those integrations up is another kind of one-time thing. So would you want to employ some kind of employee full time that does a one-time setup for you? Probably not. This is when it also look at more of a consultant. But then you have the maintaining aspect of this. You have everything set up. You have this data passing back and forth. You might need to make some changes. You might need to check on this integration. One app might change and this app didn't change, and we need to change those API calls or whatever it might be. Then once you start getting into something that complex, then it might make sense to have an admin on staff to help with that. Now, there are different types of applications you can buy from Salesforce that'll do all this stuff for you, make it a whole lot easier to accomplish. That'll make your admin's life a whole lot easier. So if you need more information about that, feel free to reach out to me. But what I've seen in my experience of seeing others take advantage of Salesforce and myself taking advantage of Salesforce is that working with a consulting partner to get everything really set up out of the gate is what most people do. And then they hire an admin to maintain that into the long term. I would say that just like the beginning part of this episode, anyone under 50 employees, you will likely not need a Salesforce admin. I wouldn't suggest getting a Salesforce admin for under kind of 50 unless your use case is super complex, but most people won't really need that. If you're above 50, yeah, I'd start thinking about maybe hiring a Salesforce admin to kind of keep up with this stuff. Just because if you're truly setting up a Salesforce environment to be 100% what you need, it's going to be automating all your business processes, automating all of your integrations. It's going to be sending out paperwork when it needs to. It's going to be following up with candidates. It's going to be doing all these things. It's truly going to be running your business. You probably want someone to manage that, right? So I would say if your business is crazy complex and what you're trying to do is kind of that next generation stuff, absolutely hire a Salesforce admin. Otherwise, you can probably get along with just a Salesforce consultant who could make sure that everything's set up for you and who you could call when you have kind of different questions here and there about your instance. So I really hope that's helpful. We covered a number of different things here in this episode. We covered what is a Salesforce admin, what it could do for you. We covered what sort of apps may get you better integrations than others, maybe spanning from front office all the way through back office. And then we talked about what these integrations between different systems may mean when it comes to should I hire an admin or not. And with that, I wanted to say I absolutely appreciate the question. Thank you so much. It's so much nicer to make these episodes when I know I'm speaking to someone in particular. So if you have any other questions, please reach out to me. The email, the best way to get a hold of me is hello@bradowens.com. Hello@bradowens.com is the email. If you like this kind of content and you're looking for some more value around Salesforce and recruiting, you're in the right place. If you go to salesforceforrecruiters.com, there's this episode and many, many others for you to take advantage of, for you to learn all about what Salesforce can do for you and your recruiting firm, and a little bit more details about what you might want to look for. I give tips and tricks. I give all sorts of different information. So to check that out at salesforceforrecruiters.com. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.